Okay. Yeah, let me get myself situated right here a little bit. Let's get it going, man. Let me go ahead and send this link out to everybody right now. If you're pulling up, it's your boy G Bush back at it again with another impromptu episode of the Barbershop. And this one is about to be something y'all gonna want to watch. Don't play around with this. You know I had to come on and give you my thoughts. I let everybody sit back quietly. OTAs is here. We saw OTAs happen. There's multiple different people around asking questions and this, that, and the third. But what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to put this out. This is only for the streets. I usually put this joint on. I can put it on Twitter and all these other places. I'm right now rocking with Facebook and YouTube right now. What we're going to do is we're going to get into this thing, man, because I'm going to tell you and break it down why this gaslighting is at an all-time high right here for the Cleveland Browns. And we got to break this down for everybody so we can understand what it looked like. Because right now there's a couple of little wavering opinions out here, and I'm going to show you. Don't fret. I'm going to show you in real time how this joint is playing out and why you shouldn't be alarmed. I'll come back and talk about it. It's right here. G Bush on the impromptu episode of The Barbershop.
Quality, service, atmosphere. You're next in the chair. Feel at home in the Barbershop. G. Bush offers a fresh cut on sports. The Barbershop isn't just grooming for guys. It's culture, it's lifestyle, it's sports. And it's now the Barbershop is giving the sports scene a sheer shave and shine. Join the makeover now. Follow Garrett Bush at GBush91 on Twitter.
What's up, fella? Let me get my lighting. I need this to be on my face. I need y'all to see this. I need you to see. Ready to go. Hold on. There we go. We got to have that. We got to have that situation in HD. And it is time to get to the real. You saw the situation going on with the thumbnail. You saw the thumbnail. And, I waited a couple of days to let y'all cats get your money off. You know what I'm saying? OTAs. I wasn't on Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. If you don't know, people ask me, G. Bush, where was you at on Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show? They had all these people on during the season or during the off season. I am not on every single day. I'm on, my 2 days off are Wednesday and Thursday. And it just so happened that I was off these last 2 days, and so many people kept hitting me up like, yo, where you at? What you doing? So for all those that are new to the channel and you watch me over Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, in the fall when the football season starts, I will be there the entire time. I'm there 5 days a week, and we doing what we need to do over there. But for now, since I missed the first 2 OTAs, it is now time for me to give you guys what we need to be talking about. Because guess what? I think the people are missing the point on this, and a lot of people is getting upset because people are throwing things out here, and the media is gaslighting you a little bit, and I'll explain why that is. So there's this phenomenon happening right now with OTAs. I know you guys have probably already know about it. The list is out with Shedeur Sanders going 7-9, 3 touchdowns, and you're wondering why you can't get anybody to talk about it. So you're looking for different places. You're going place to place, jumping around saying, wow, man, I saw the 7 for 9, man. He had better numbers. He threw more touchdowns. I would expect this to be a little more exciting. People, maybe he's going to start to get that momentum, start to get, people to finally see that he's doing his thing. And a lot of the things that people talked about as talking points to lower his stock at the beginning of the year or during the draft process is starting to be debunked. You even got, I've been doing shows like this, talking about how Colin Cowherd, all these other quarterbacks, from Colin Cowherd as a main guy to RG3 to people that is Bernie Kosar, the who else was we talking about? Kurt Warner was doing it, Drew Bledsoe, all Keyshawn Johnson, former GMs. Everybody is coming back and talking about, wow, man, this kid looks this kid looks that. But you can't seem to get the same story for them people that's covering it every single day. I think that's very weird. See, but what you have to understand is this. these are the games that they play. And it is a game. It's a game. And it's called, I wouldn't even call it moving the goalposts. It's called reality is what I say it is. I think people don't understand that, the way the media is set up in the way, and listen, people say you going at the media. Myself, I understand that I am in the media, but I didn't come from that. I came from a person who played football, who talks X and O's, who breaks down film and loves the sport of football. I didn't come in here with all these other, I don't eat birthday cake with nobody. I'm not trying to go to the bar mitzvahs. I'm not going to your cookout. I don't really hang out with players. I don't do none of that. What I do is I keep it straight and I keep it solid. But let me show you the sneaky behavior that guys are pulling right now. As Shedeur Sanders is going about his business, trying to earn a position, the narrative is now that none of it counts. Oh no, this doesn't count. Well, let me show you why it's contradictory and it's out of pocket. And people would not notice they're even doing this if other people didn't bring it up. I wouldn't be sitting here doing this. And a lot of people saying, I'm tired of the capes for, Shedeur and all his fans and everything like that. And I'm so upset. I'm so upset that I even have to talk about a 5th round quarterback and what he's doing in training camp of all reasons. First and foremost, anybody that's saying that, get up out of here. Listen, you take yourself so seriously. This ain't no work. And the audacity that you come up here with is, how dare do I have, we are nobodies. I keep trying to tell people every single week, we are guests in the game. We are people that can feed our family by talking about players and because people have an interest in these people. People have an interest because they like the way Shedeur Sanders plays, or they like the way Miles Garrett rushes the passer, or they like the way that's different things happen, right? They like those things. So what we are able to do as media members is capitalize off that and bring more content that people want to see. So how arrogant of you is to say that you don't understand why you have to talk about something. Without these people in the field, we would not have a job. And I could talk my talk. A lot of these dudes that have been in the industry since day one. They got slid the paperwork. They was there. Listen, I didn't get into this game till I was almost in my mid-30s. I'm 43 now. So I know what a real 9-to-5 look like. I worked on the garbage truck before. I worked landscaping before. I had regular jobs my entire life. Manual labor. I worked in a steel factory before. So miss me with all that. Why do we have to talk about somebody when this is cakewalks? This is easy money. You sitting up in a microphone talking about nothing. You ain't outside digging no ditches for a living. What are you talking about, man? So let me show you how crazy this is. Now, I'm going to show you a clip here. Now, I'm not going to use all the other clips, right? Because people be getting mad. G. Bush, you can't be using the clips against all those other people because they're upset at you're using their clips to slander. I'm slandering them. I just disagree with them. But I'm going to just do it because everybody that I'm about to show you right now, I'm friends with and they on the platform. UCSS. But at the end of the day, I don't got no problem with them. I'm just telling you, and I'm just showing you how easily we fall into these little narratives and these traps where at one end of the spectrum, you don't care about it, but at the other end, it's imperative for you to be here. Sit back. I got the receipts. Let's talk about it, because this is just not them doing it. This is what the industry has been consistently doing for 3 to 4 years when it comes to this. So let me show you this. I'm going to show you the first clip. I'm going to show you the Cleveland Browns talk about, and a lot of people in the Browns community speak about why Miles Garrett is not a leader because he's not at OTAs. We're going to establish that. You're going to hear people say, because he's not at OTAs, he's not a leader and he should be there. So let's contrast that with something else we got coming up, and it'll all come together. I promise you. Here we go.
Jason, what can you tell us about how the 4 quarterbacks looked yesterday?
Nope, that was the wrong one. We're going to get to that. Let's get to this one first.
Browns are coming off a 3-14 season. They're trying to rebuild a winning culture.
Yes.
And I think it helps build a winning culture when your best players are there for something
I
like
100%
this.
agree with you.
There is nothing, and to your point, Miles Garrett will get nothing out of being at OTAs. He's not going to learn a new technique. He's not going to get stronger in ways that he can't working out in Tokyo, wherever he is. He's not going to miss out on a defensive assignment meeting that's going to compromise his ability to execute and succeed the game plan when the actual season comes around. But with that being said, Jimmy Haslam and the Browns gave Miles Garrett the biggest non-quarterback extension in the history of football this summer. And at the NFL owners' meetings.
By the way, I take a little bit of issue with that phrasing. Miles Garrett earned that. Miles Garrett earned that. He's been the best defensive player in the league for 5-6 years. He's earned that. They didn't give him anything. Let's continue.
Jimmy was asked about that extension he gave to Miles. And if you have the quote, you can pull it up whenever you want. But he basically said, we want to challenge Miles to become a better leader. We want Miles to take on a bigger leadership role. He may not be the rah-rah guy that some other leaders are. Think Ray Lewis. Like, that's not his style of leadership. But we want the highest paid non-quarterback in football to be a leader of this team. And I think, and here's the exact quote from Jimmy Haslam. What we've challenged Miles on is by his practice habits, by his actions, etc., to become a real leader of the team. And he has said he'd do that, and we're hopeful that he will be. Miles is by nature an introvert. He's not an extroverted rah-rah guy, but the Browns expect even more from their all-pro defensive end in the leadership space. That was Jimmy Haslam. That's not my words. That is the owner of the team who just gave him the biggest contract in the history of football.
Okay, so let's break this down. Notice what he said. This is surgical. Understand this so we can keep it a buck. He said practice habits. Did he not? He's saying that Miles Garrett, even though he's the best player on the team, has been the best player on the team, is the most accomplished player on the squad, and is come in at as high as number 5 overall in terms of the best player in the NFL, who has also won the Defensive Player of the Year, who has also been the best pass rusher according to PFF, who gets triple team all the time, and even when all hell breaks loose and the Cleveland Browns are terrible at the end of the year, Miles Garrett on a 3-14 team was still out there the last part of the season. I can't say the same for a lot of other people. He's been here since day one. He's been here through 0-16, right? So I think it's fancy that when we talk about a person that's more accomplished than every other person in your organization, including the owner who's won nothing, including the head coach who was just on the hot seat, including a general manager that's been fumbling the bag with these picks for a long time, and every other scout in general, Miles Garrett already is the sack leader for the Cleveland Browns. Miles Garrett is all-walking Hall of Famer. I think it's very rich for people who haven't won anything, done anything, to say, you need to be a better leader. No, I need everybody to have better production. How's about that? If I had 4 Miles Garretts, we might have won something. But yet and still, this is the thing we do all the time. If you notice, I'm going to bring it back home. If you notice the trait here is, we got people that say Donovan Mitchell ain't the guy, but yet and still don't want to trade Darius Garland and Jared Allen. Come on now. We got people that's running up here, so they gave him the biggest contract. No, he earned that contract, and he's the best player you got. Now, I'll let him continue to finish, because they're telling me, as if I'm reading this right, they're saying practice counts. It's so important that the defensive player of the year, do you admit it, is not going to learn anything, not going to be better, does nothing for him. You admitted that you would like him there because you feel it's important. Let's drill down on that. We'll continue on. That's a very important point. We'll come back to it. 540 people didn't hit the like button.
So I want him there. Do I think it's a big deal? He's not. No, like I said, he's not going to get any better. He's not going to learn anything. But when you're trying to rebuild a culture from a team that went 3-14 last year, I'd like to see your best players there to help.
You went 3-14 last year because you didn't have a quarterback. And this year is all about a referendum on finding a quarterback, but we don't seem to want to find a quarterback. We just want to blame Miles Garrett. We went 3-14. Maybe if Miles had 20 sacks last year, maybe we wouldn't have won those games. You know it, we know it.
Build that winning culture back up.
We all would like to see him there. I'd like to see him there. I think it would help the team if he was there. It'd help Kevin Stefanski. I mean, the owner just, you said, I mean, you read the quote. It's a fact. I mean, he needs to become a better leader, but maybe that's just not his MO. I mean, he just said it right there. He's an introvert. He's not really a rah-rah guy. We all know that about Miles Garrett. So that's not the biggest thing in the world. I don't know. I mean, I can see where people would be critical of him, and I totally get it. You also got to remember that at the end of the season, when the Browns had 3 wins, I mean, like that guy's out there grinding. Like, he may need this time to get away because he knows, and a lot of these veterans understand how to be a pro and how to take care of your body, and when there's a time to maybe get away from the game.
In the end, it's a story we forget about in 2 seconds.
Maybe the other side of this, to play devil's advocate a little bit, is maybe he sticks to the Browns. I mean,
he really did want to be out of here.
100% wanted to be out of here.
And the money is almost irrelevant because whatever team he would have ended up on would have paid him that same money.
Yeah.
So it's not like the Browns paid him an amount that other teams wouldn't have. I mean, if a team was going to trade for him, they would have paid him that money too. So, yeah, I mean, maybe that's it. My guess is that he just wanted to be at this convention with his girlfriend.
That's my first inclination.
Yeah.
But I am just saying that he took a shot at Andrew Berry about the Canton thing. So he could be sending a message like, hey, I got your money and I don't have to be there.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he's got.
Can we add the fact that this is the first time this happened? Last year, he missed OTAs. If you just want, coming into the fold, he missed OTAs, and people said the same thing. But all he did is go out there and have 14 sacks and was voted the Defensive Player of the Year by the Players Association. He won Defensive Player of the Year prior to that for the entire NFL. And by the way, Joe Bitonio, who's the captain, missed OTAs too. Reportedly, he's not there this year too. We have no comments about Joe Bitonio. David Njoku missed OTAs last year. No comments about him. Nick Chubb, and we love Nick Chubb to death, was not there. It's not the fact. Here's what I'm setting up. It's not about what you do. The goalposts will always be moved. It's about control. It's about, we said you should be doing this, and this is the expectations that we have on you, and this is from my narrow perspective. This is what we would like you to do. I would feel better if you did it. It's not about whether practice counts or not, because watch when we get to the second part of the conversation. They disregard practice. When it fits their narrative, practice can be disregarded. It don't count. But when they want you to do something, it's imperative and it's a must go. Let's continue
all
on.
the power.
They
can't do anything to him.
He does.
Yeah.
They can't do anything to him at all. So, yeah, I mean, he's going to be there at training camp, and he's going to, if the Browns don't have a bad year, are we going to say, oh, well, if Miles had been at OTAs, maybe they'd have a better season this year?
Yeah, I mean,
right.
Him being there versus not is not the difference of them going 4-13 versus 9-8. Like, him being there for this makes no difference in that sense. It's just one of those things, to your point, Bull, you kind of just want your best players there.
Yeah, because you want them there.
You want everyone there. I want the entire team there.
So if you want everybody there, let's come along. 629 people, and this is the way you got to break it down, because other than that, they'll just, they'll just skim over it and act like you're crazy. So all together, boys and girls, if you just want all of your people there, it's a preference. Does that not mean you find it slightly important? Yes. Yes, you do.
Maybe, although Miles can't get anything from being there, Mason Graham can learn something from being with Miles.
Right.
They'll get enough time together where I'm sure those things will come together. But, you want the Browns. We all want the Browns to have a successful season.
Yeah.
We want to hope, and we have.
Do the Browns want the Browns to have a successful season?
They're building for next year.
So, you want all these opportunities to come together and have a chance to build upon.
Yeah.
This is the first brick in laying the foundation for whatever the next future of the Browns is.
This is the next brick in the foundation for laying down what the Cleveland Browns will be. Quote unquote. If that is, we all believe that foundations and bricks in the basement really are needed, right? That's enough of that. That was Exhibit A. In order to understand where I'm going with the whole overall show, we must get to Exhibit B and say, what does Miles Garrett not being at OTAs have to do with Shedeur Sanders? Let's get to it right now. Hit that like button, 658 in here. Share this.
Jason, what can you tell us about how the 4 quarterbacks looked yesterday in day 2 of OTAs?
2 things stood out. Joe Flacco is the best quarterback on this roster. I couldn't believe it. I mean, it's one day.
couldn't?
It's one day. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I was the one saying Joe's not going to be here.
Yeah.
And I looked at him yesterday, I'm like, yep, he's the best one out there.
That's not a surprise to me.
And Shedeur is very clearly fourth on the depth chart. Very, 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 very clearly fourth on the depth chart right now. No, he's got plenty of time. That could change.
Yeah.
But he's the only quarterback that didn't get any reps with the starters when they went 11 on 11. And Zach's going to be in like literally 20 minutes. And I kept saying, I can't believe it. And Zach's like, well, he's the fourth quarterback. Like, it's not that shocking. But because of the setup of this camp and because, like, this is an unorthodox, like, all this spring and summer is going to be different. Like, they're running 11 on 11s on two fields next to each other. Zach's like, I haven't seen that in 25 years. Because I'm looking at it going, I know I've never seen that, but he's been around.
So let me break this down. You've been there all that time. You saying that you ain't never in your time period seen them run 7-on-7 on multiple fields. Would that not denote that there's something a little extra important about seeing these guys throw the football this year? I'm just asking. That would denote that probably it's important, huh? All right, let's keep it going.
On this team a lot longer than I have. So I was like, no, I've never seen that.
Yeah.
They were doing 7-on-7s and 11-on-11s.
Yeah.
And so Shedeur was running with the guys. He's throwing to the guys who aren't going to be here in September.
Yeah.
And so they had the two veterans on one field and the two rookies on the other. So if you want to talk strictly quarterback, Joe can still spin it, man. Like, it was incredible to watch him at 40.
He's going to be the starter because I kept saying that's the only thing that wouldn't allow him to be the starter is if his arm is shot a little bit.
It is not.
Well,
let's be clear. G. Bush was the one who first said it weeks ago. I said, you talking Kenny Pickett and Dylan Gabriel, that's not even an option. What are you talking about? I said, listen, if they're going to give somebody an opportunity to play from start, it's Flacco. I didn't understand what Mary Kay was talking about, or Grossi, or Jason Lloyd, because he said he was talking about Kenny Pickett playing, and he has the inside track. Then you went to practice and seen that he was really spinning the thing. I said, why did you have Pickett? It was arbitrary. Why did you even have Pickett in the mix? I'm confused. Keep going.
He gonna be the starter.
And it was funny because he even, like, the thing I really appreciate about Joe is, like, he's reached this stage of his career where he just didn't give a
he
didn't care.
love it.
Yeah. And, like, what's he scared of? Why does he have to censor
He got
himself?
nothing to lose.
He's got, like, he's just honest.
Yeah.
So let me get this right. Joe Flacco has got to the point in his career where I like him. He's honest. He doesn't have to give a crap what we talking about. Honest. Why would I like it? I like Joe speaks his mind, and but we not to the point where Miles Garrett, a walking Hall of Famer, can have that same level of I don't give a you know what. Because the reality is Joe Flacco not going to the Hall of Fame. Miles Garrett is. He's the best player. So I'm confused. On one hand, it's cool. Joe Flacco, that's how he operates. But you want to show Miles got to be a better leader. Let's keep going.
And I love when players get to that point because you can really have some really frank conversations with them.
Yeah.
And Joe was asked yesterday about the whole mentor thing. He gave a great answer to that.
Yeah.
What Joe Flacco said, if you missed it, about the whole mentor thing was, he said it's not my job to be out here mentoring nobody. If they ask me some questions, cool. If they want to, I pull somebody aside, cool. And whatever we do in the locker room, that's great as well. But let me just keep it a buck with you. My job is to come out here and compete for a starting position, get the Cleveland Browns to win games, and hopefully compete for a Super Bowl. That's what I do. I'm a player. That's my focus. If something happens along the way, of course, I'm going to be a great teammate, and I'll show them what it is. But my job is that, not mentorship. So when you talking about Miles Garrett mentoring Mason Graham, Miles Garrett ain't no, listen, Mason Graham and all them young dudes need reps anyway, right? Why do I have Miles Garrett taking up reps for young guys when I can get them young guys reps? It just makes perfect sense. Trust me, stick tight. I'm almost there.
Those are the two that stood out to me. Shedeur had a fine day.
7 for 9, 3 touchdowns.
Here it goes. Notice when they say, "Oh, Shedeur had it," I ain't never. People be cracking me up. They glaze over Shedeur like it was a footnote. He had a very fine day, moving right along. My question is, how can you be so glaring? Now, listen, Flacco is nice. Flacco nice. But my problem is, how can you look at Flacco and gain that much knowledge from watching Flacco throw the football? Nice ball, the best quarterback out there. If this was all just for a grain of salt, how is it that the same endorsements or the same conversation is just real quick? Now, he can say he had a fine day, but here's where the conversation with Shedeur always usually ends up happening. Rewind a little bit.
No, those are the two that stood out to me. Shedeur had a fine day.
7 for 9, 3 touchdowns.
Meaningless.
Don't
Tyvus, you're better than that. You played in the league for crying out loud.
Wait. Because that went so viral yesterday. Jason, will you explain what people were even looking at and why some of those numbers can be misleading, good or bad, for any quarterback?
Misleading. They have zero value.
7 for 9, 3 touchdowns.
Okay, well, they're starting on the 30. It's 7 on 7.
No one's playing defense.
No one's playing defense. I mean, whatever.
There's no hitting.
Hey, he threw it well. Like, Shedeur had a fine day. He threw it well. But, like, to get wrapped up in some of these numbers is stupid.
Who had the worst day?
So let me get this straight. I'm just putting it out here. You let me know if I'm wrong in the comments. We got 221 to get to. We'll definitely take your comments. Super chat is available. I got a question. Let me know. So on one hand, Miles Garrett, a veteran who's accomplished and is a Hall of Famer, needs to be at camp because it's important. But whatever Shedeur Sanders did in camp didn't matter because it's camp. Well, hold on. There's the conundrum as we speak. This is where the gaslighting in plain light daylight happens. On one hand, when you don't like something that somebody does, you use it against them. You need to be at practice, Miles Garrett. You got a new contract. It's important. Team camaraderie, building everything together. You can use the young guys. The Browns need to see you there. The owner says so. Okay, great. But on the other end of the spectrum, for a young quarterback who is trying to get better, who is trying to compete for a job, who is trying to put good things on tape in order to get more reps, none of that counts. Because they weren't playing defense. Those guys aren't going to be here anyway. They're going to get cut. He's already the 4th-string quarterback. My question is, why is there a dismissive nature to what camp is about when it suits you? I'm from a firm believer, and I come from a place where it's about what you do on the field. It's about what your body of work is. But the problem is, and this is why there's so much pushback, and people get mad because they're like, I'm just tired of the hype. I'm tired of the hype. I'm tired of talking about it. Why do we got to talk about this 5th-round pick? You got to understand where other people is coming from this perspective. Where people are coming from a perspective is saying, say, for instance, you watch a quarterback, and you've been watching him for years. You've been watching him grow and do different things since he was in high school. You watch him to a point. The prognosticators have him as a skill set at a certain place that you think he's going to get drafted. And because of anonymous sources, people started making narratives up about how horrible he interviewed or how terrible his father was. Or those people are going to push back because they think he's being unfairly assassinated. None of them are sitting there telling you that they need to give him a job and that they need to have him give him some sort of job. But the thing that people are moving and trying to say is, are you going to be honest and fair about your assessment? Are you going to keep it 100? Because if Dylan Gabriel came out and threw the ball, I would keep it 100 with you. I would say he was balling. I would say all of that, letter D. But the problem is, on one hand, camp matters for Miles Garrett, who's a veteran. But on the other hand, it doesn't matter. Whoever does something in camp over here, it don't matter. I don't understand how that works.
I see. I would say, from what I saw, and it's hard because like everything's going at the same time.
Kenneth Pickett.
Kenny and Dylan were below the other two. I would say that. I would say Joey. I thought Joe and Shedeur were better than Kenny and Dylan.
Okay, and that's the two when they do the pairings.
But
that's
they have the veterans. They have the veterans together and they have the rookies together.
Are they doing the pairing thing that Mary Kay suggested, where it's Joe and Shedeur
I didn't really
on
see
drills
that.
and
Again,
then
it's
Kenny
one.
and
It was one OTA.
Well, you said the veterans were on one field.
The
and
veterans were on, but
rookies were on the other.
when they went separate,
Yeah.
and then they would run with all the starters,
Yeah.
and then that's when they ran Joe, Dylan, and Kenny all took reps with the starters,
Right.
and that's where Shedeur didn't get any reps with the starters. That's why I said,
Was
well,
Kevin Stefanski asked about that after?
yeah, I did. I asked
Yeah.
him because he keeps saying, like, don't pay any attention to the order. The order's going to change.
Right.
And I said, well, what about the number of the reps? Like, should we
Yeah.
read anything? Of course, he said, no, not for one day. And,
Yeah.
and that's important to say. Like,
Right.
they have 3 practices this week. Who's to say that Shedeur didn't get reps yesterday with the ones, or that he
Right.
doesn't get them today?
The obsession with the NFL in this country is a great thing for us, but it leads to insanity.
Yes.
Because when you have and kudos to Brad Stainbrook, who's done a nice job making a name for himself as a young guy trying to get into this business. He's done a good job, and I don't know if he kept those stats or this friend of Shedeur kept the stats.
No, ESPN Cleveland.
Oh.
That's another thing. What do you talk about? Friend of Shedeur kept the stats. ESPN Cleveland had them stats. Why? But the friend of Shedeur took the stats. That's wild work.
Kept the stats.
Okay.
He then he tweeted it, and then Boog, who came on the show.
Yeah, right, Boog. Yeah.
That was Boog, who came on the show. Was
So
the
here's
one
the
who
thing: we
commented.
love Boog, and every conversation can't be about like this is no knock at Shedeur Sanders. The stats that matter are not those stats. The stats that matter are: does he have the playbook down? Not him, anybody.
Yeah.
Is he seeing the field well? Is he making the right reads? Those are things we don't know on the outside. We're not in the huddle.
What? Like, I'm confused. Well, you know how you know someone's making the right reads? You see them on the field. They throw the ball. They caught the ball, and it was a touchdown. That matters. Why is it, in all this commentary, Dylan Gabriel had a pick 60 the other day. That never gets talked about. They said Joe Flacco looked sterling. Okay, he looked great, awesome. The problem is they're gaslighting you into thinking that somehow you're being unreasonable by wanting to see a dude get a fair shot. You're being unreasonable and over hyperbolic because you think that a guy who Mel Kiper says was the best quarterback in the draft, you think that he is a good quarterback and potentially has an opportunity to be a quarterback for the Browns. But somehow you're crazy and delusional for that. You guys are just over the top and you're fanboys. Nah, let me explain something to you. The same thing happened with Baker Mayfield. Same thing happened with Deshaun Watson. Same thing happened with Johnny Manziel. When you're taking that high or you have a high profile, people have fan bases. So why is it crazy for people to want to root for somebody to be good so that the Browns can fix their quarterback situation? Why is it a bad thing that you're sitting here looking to say, hey, I'm excited that Kevin Stefanski said we're going to give all 4 of these quarterbacks an opportunity to start? Why is it the onus upon you to taper your expectations and act like you're not excited about it? I don't understand how Browns media cook like this. I just don't. For me, when they say quarterback competition, I'm excited about it. You know why? Because I get an opportunity to see what matters the most, in which that happens on the field. For me, I think it's wild work that there's this, I don't know, man. It's wild to me. It's just like, anytime you mention it, it's people again. And now you get people saying, look, see, this is why we didn't want them, because we got to talk about them all the time. Come on, ain't that what we're supposed to be talking about?
We don't know what the plays are. The actual statistics of what they do in practice is 100% meaningless.
So let's just go back to that. You said the statistics and what they do in practice is meaningless.
Yeah.
And when Miles isn't there,
I agree with you.
there is nothing, and to your point, Miles Garrett will get nothing out of being at OTAs. He's not going to learn a new technique. He's not going to get stronger in ways that he can't working out in Tokyo, wherever he is. He's not going to miss out on a defensive assignment meeting that's going to compromise his ability to execute and succeed the game plan when the actual season comes around. But with that being said, Jimmy Haslam and the Browns gave Miles Garrett the biggest non-quarterback extension in the history of football this summer. And at the NFL owners' meetings, Jimmy was asked about that extension he gave to Miles. And if you have the quote, you can pull it up whenever you want. But he basically said, we want to challenge Miles to become a better leader. We want Miles to take on a bigger leadership role. He may not be the rah-rah guy that some other leaders are. Think Ray Lewis. Like, that's not his style of leadership. But we want the highest paid non-quarterback in football to be a leader of this team. And I think, and here's the exact quote from Jimmy Haslam. What we've challenged Miles on is, by his practice habits, by his actions, etc., to become a real leader of the team. And he has said he'd do that, and we're hopeful that he will be. Miles is by nature an introvert. He's not an extroverted rah-rah guy, but the Browns expect even more from their all-pro defensive end in the leadership space. That was Jimmy Haslam. That's not my words. That is the owner of the team who just gave him the biggest contract in the history of football for a non-quarterback.
As we remove this and get back to it, before we get to your comments, we'd like to ask this. Does it matter or does it? Does OTAs matter or don't they matter? I'm of the belief, as a former football player, that every rep that you get is important. Whether it's stances, starts, getting off the ball, seeing recognition, knowing the playbook, I believe all reps matter. But in the case of Shedeur Sanders, we're consistently told it doesn't matter. Nothing here to see. He did all right. Consistently fourth quarterback. Got passed over 8 times. All that good stuff. None of that matters. Well, if it don't matter for him, it sure as hell don't matter for Miles Garrett then. You can't have it both ways, people. And that is why when you have a conversation and it says Shedeur Sanders is up against his toughest foe or his toughest opposition yet, is because when you are up against narratives like this, when you're up against the mental gymnastics and the moving of goalposts and the gaslighting, what it does, it starts to wear on you because you're just like, hold on, am I crazy or not? Because you just said practice was important, but then now it ain't important when it don't suit you what you're saying. So what I did is I just wanted to go ahead and I'm gonna throw these out. Let me see, just so we can establish what Miles Garrett has done. Let me see. These are his regular season stats. As you can see, Miles Garrett is one of the most productive people in the game. He's the youngest player to 100 sacks ever in the history of playing the game. That's what he's done. He consistently gives you upwards of 14 sacks. And he plays hurt. Let's take a look at his accolades so we can figure something out here. He was the number one pick overall. He was all-rookie team in 2017. He's a 6-time Pro Bowler, 2-time second-team All-Pro, 4 times first-team All-Pro, the Defensive Player of the Year in 2023, and the Defensive Player of the Year in 2024, according to the Players Association. I'm just going to give you the stats to see if maybe, you think he needs to be at practice. We'll continue on, and let's get to these ones. So I just want to show you. Let's get to the tweets a little bit. I got this segment called Wild Tweets because sometimes you really got to show people, because if I didn't show y'all what people be talking about on the timeline, y'all would think I was just lying to you. How do you know Browns fans feel this way? Well, listen, I'm on Twitter and a lot. Some would say Twitter is not a great representation of what your fan base is, but I must say, it's kind of crazy. Let's get to this. I asked the question today. Why is there a Miles Garrett leadership talking point every year? That he misses OTAs. Know who else missed OTAs last year? Joe Bitonio and David Njoku. And nobody mentioned their names. TJ Watt and Micah Parsons, by the way, 2 of the greatest pass rushers in the league, both missed training camp as well. As long as he gives me sacks, I don't care. Now, here's where this comes in. This individual says, maybe because the front office requested more leadership and gifting him a contract increase. There's no such thing as a gift. He earned it. And he got paid and he ain't demonstrating leadership qualities. This isn't the first time he's been asked to be a vocal leader. Okay. Seems kind of wild, you know. Okay, well, let's see how this progresses. Somebody else says Miles Garrett is the only baller on the Browns defense, but the bigoted fan base thinks he should be doing more than he already does. Sounds about right. For me, I didn't say that. This person said that. Somebody under the comments said it. And this is my man's, hold on, let me bring this down. Let me bring it down so you can see it. This is my guy's, this is what he told me. This is what he told you. F his whiny ass. No respect for him anymore. Are you really a Browns fan? Why? Because he did something you didn't like? He asked for more money because he deserved it? What he said, the Browns was losing for a whole lot of years and he wanted to play for a winner? I don't blame nobody for that. People say that all the time. Heck, nobody talk about Aaron Rodgers. He's still undefeated. He's still on the market trying to play where he's going to go next. I find it rare. I find it crazy. Let's continue to go on. Again, when will we start covering Cam Ward? You know, the #1 overall pick. It's another one of those guys who were talking about, why are we talking about Shedeur Sanders? Instead of so much hype and coverage on the 5th round pick, throwing against 4th team defenses. Okay. So maybe he thinks practice is important. Maybe. I don't know. There's always an excuse for Miles not to go the extra mile and be an example to the younger players on the team. That seems to be a 4-letter word to Miles. He only mentions team when he can leverage into the largest non-quarterback. Bruce, it seems like you're a little salty with the bag you got. Is that true? Maybe you deserve the bag. Dr. Strangelove, he's not just there for the D. He's there for the whole team. If your company said that there was a voluntary retreat and you, as a higher-ranking official, did not go, how would that reflect on you? Yeah, I would tell them to make it mandatory if I didn't have nothing else to do. I mean, was that the only time frame since January he could have gone to Japan? Listen, bro, it boils down. It ain't about that. It boils down to control. That's what it boils down to. One more. Christopher Engels. Now, this is kind of middle of the road. He says, none of this matters. When they put the pads on and they're a real defense, then we will see. Until then, no QB can be judged with no defensive pressure. Jury is out, will be out, and will be only in when he faces a real defense because that's when it matters. In that case, then, you agree that Miles Garrett shouldn't be at camp then because it doesn't matter. You cannot have it both ways. And the only reason I'm going to this link to point it out is to show you the inconsistencies in the way people talk about the game of football. It's really not, it has nothing to do today in the media. It has nothing to do with whether or not you're being fair, biased, whatever the case may be. People are now projecting what they think another man should be doing based on their moral compass narrative and how they want to view things. It's not about practice because, as some of you so put, if Shedeur Sanders looked horrible, what would they say? It's a validation that he was a 5th round pick and everything was right. If he was throwing picks, they would say, you know what? Look, proof is in the pudding right there. Look at it. If he was, if he didn't know his plays, right? If he was out there looking crazy, if he had a bad attitude or pouted after, you know what that would say? That would be validation. But the problem is when he doesn't do that and actually does something decent, we're not saying he won the Super Bowl. We're not saying that's going to make him the starting quarterback. You can't even say, you know what? Shedeur was really balling today and have any inkling of brightness in your soul. It's begrudging. It's like they got you at knife point. Like, you better say something nice about Shedeur. He was fine today. Better say something nice about Shedeur. He threw the ball well. I thought he threw well. Next subject. Let's get to your comments. Let's get it. Phyllis Smith says, G. Bush, I don't trust the Browns. I worry about Shedeur being there, especially when the Browns people talk mess about him instead of supporting him. Here's the thing I always say to you guys, and I'm going to give you this. Let me give you this. And maybe this can give you an insight into a certain thing. There are people who told me in the media, people I know, people I respect, colleagues, acquaintances. You know, people say, you know, G. Bush, are you getting too close to the Shedeur thing? Are you getting too are you getting too tied up in it? We wouldn't want to see you take a hit, but your credibility turns out to be good or not. And all I do is hang my head and shake my head, because I still don't believe people understand what my job is. My job is to tell the pure, unadulterated truth as I see it. Shedeur Sanders will have an opportunity to play based on his merits, and he will play sometime this year. At the end of the day, it is up to him what he does with that opportunity. But for me, my job is to say, this is what a fair opportunity looks like. This is what an opportunity to give a person a shot to win a job looks like. Because for every time that I say this, there's another article with more people jumping out the window saying wild stuff. And people say, well, why do you guys have to chart any of this anyway? It don't matter, because if we didn't chart it, a certain somebody might just make it up. That's the way this thing works. They're mad at me. You want to be mad at me because I'm correcting the record? Because when you do realize why they're posting stats now, because people just completely made up the stats before. But then we're the lunatics. Nah, bro, we just fact checking you. That's all it is. When people say, man, listen, who looked the best? And you jump out the window and say, man, I saw Dylan Gabriel throwing the ball through a window. I saw this dude had the greatest arm I've ever seen in my life. But then he get to Shedeur, yeah, listen, I thought he threw a bad ball. And then somebody else got to come back and say, man, it wasn't even close. That's why you have to do these type blogs. And Phyllis, for me, here's what I will say. What God got for you, can't nobody take that away. There's a lot of different people who may not like the stuff that I say. That's great. You can't stop my work. You can't stop my hustle. You can't stop me doing lives. You can't stop me from always trying to upgrade, putting in work when you sleep. On the weekends, when you running around hanging out with your kids, I'm putting blogs down. You can't stop a man that is determined, that's plugged into what God want him to do. And so, yeah, in the beginning, it may look a certain way. Yeah, in the beginning, well, he's definitely fourth on the depth chart. But guess what? One thing that we know is he will get an opportunity. And when that opportunity presents himself and he's able to show up and show what he can do, then guess what? There won't be anybody left to say why we don't think he's good or why this don't work. Because guess what? He'll have gone through the fire. He'll have gone through it all. He went from getting dropped from the first round to the fifth round, kept going. He went from being considered the number 2 pick to now I'm being drafted fifth round and I'm the fourth quarterback on the depth chart, not getting no play. He went from having to grind, having to show up in the darkness. And the great thing about this is we should be happy Kevin Stefanski is putting him at the 4th string. You know why? Because can't nobody say that nobody gave you nothing. That's the best part of life. You got it out the mud. You can't tell me nothing. You here because of what you did and what the work you put in. Did nobody give you nothing? Did nobody hand you no handouts? You didn't take no shorts. You didn't do none of that. You stood tall and did what you were supposed to do. And guess what? If you're a supporter and you want to see him do well, don't let nobody out here try to tell you some sort of sap or sucker or you glazing or you doing whatever, bro. I'm standing on what I'm staying on. I'm not trying to go hang out with you. I'm not going to your house. You ain't coming to my house. And you don't control how I'm moving. If it all in today, guess what? The barbershop's still rolling. Because guess what? They didn't give me no job no way. And that's what we should be thinking about. That's how you're supposed to think about it. And just because you support somebody does not mean that you saying he should be given something. And the crazy part about it is you are correct, Phyllis. Why would you not want somebody that's on your roster to be good? Ask the question. Shuno Tay, I'm sick of MKC and Grossi. They hate 12. Well, you know the greatest thing is, if he balls out, they can't even hide no more. That's gonna be on their timeline forever. Remember, you said he was garbage. Only Browns media I rock with is G-Bus and Zach Jackson. Look, here's what I say about Zach, and the reason why people mess with him. The reason why people mess with Zach is he come in and he say what he say, and he ain't gonna try to sugarfoot it because he don't care. He ain't eating birthday cake with nobody. He came in today and he said about the competition, guess what? Flacco and Shedeur Sanders look the best. Kenny Pickett couldn't even score. He was 9 of 16. He couldn't score, didn't get in the end zone, not one period. And he said Dylan Gabriel doesn't look like a quarterback. That ain't my words. He said it. He doesn't look like a pro quarterback. I'm just saying. But I don't understand why you wouldn't want the ball out. But didn't Kevin Stefanski say he is monitoring everything? So why do OTAs are any different? I know it's practice, but it should matter if they are monitoring everything that they do. Chantel, you know what? You seem to be smarter than a lot of people that I work with. And everybody that's playing, that has ever played the game, understands why would it not count? What the coach is sitting here saying, I'm going to evaluate you and everything, from the way you walk to the way you talk, all that good stuff. The reason we say it don't matter is because there's not necessarily any angle that we can cover. That makes it interesting. So us media guys want to fast forward everything. We say everything don't matter. I find it crazy that people is talking about they building for next year. How is it that you can't be a football person? You can't understand the game of football if you feel like these people's going to be in here fast forward into next year. It's wild. It's crazy. Crazy. Let's keep it moving. William Wise. It's the old media and the lack of G. Bushes in the room. I didn't know I became like a thing, an entity. I do believe this, and I'm going to say it. When you talk about the old guard, you got to realize that in the media is an elite fraternity. They are the gatekeepers. They are the people that I've covered this team for this many years. I've been in the league watching this for this many years. I've done this. I go way back to Brian Sipin. I've seen the Browns lose 97 games. Problem is this. When players stop giving access to reporters, the game flipped. Because before it used to be that you had to get with a player to get the inside information, to get interviews, to get analysis. Ask yourself this question. They don't mess with your boy G. Bush because I'll be giving away the secrets of the trade secrets. How many new articles are you seeing out there with new people dropping exclusive interviews with players? I'll wait. What media member got the Deshaun Watson interview when he came? Any inside media person get that? When the last time you seen Miles Garrett talk to any local media person? When Odell Beckham Jr. came here, he didn't talk to no local media people. When LeBron James was here, he did not give local media interviews. These are all facts. Let me know the last time you got an exclusive of one of the top-notch got Baker Mayfield. Who got that exclusive? Nobody. The game is different. Players started realizing in the empowerment movement, why would we go to these people and do interviews? We could just go over here and create our own platforms and tell our own stories. In a safe place, in a safe zone where players understand players. That changed the game forever. Changed it forever. Sports Center became irrelevant. After COVID, people started to realize, like, yo, we might as well just pull our resources together and come over here and start talking to each other. So that left journalists in a place where it's like, well, you got all these people like G. Bush and a bunch of other people, not just myself. I'm not saying that I'm bigger than everybody. What I'm saying to you, there's a lot of different platforms all over the place that have opinion on these same topics that are doing very well in the Twitter, in the YouTube field or in the blogs or the podcasts. So now you go, how can we differentiate ourselves in a market that's rapidly changing where the players are moving out on their own, less access? You got other bloggers and other people that are doing numbers because they're giving hot opinions and developing a market on YouTube. And then they're left to say, well, all we got to do is do recaps of the football games. And that ain't gonna move no needle. So you gotta stay and keep control of what you got. You gotta be able to say, I still have the ability to write certain things that has a reach that a lot of people don't. The power of the pen is one of the most powerful things because when you write something down, it has spiritual tendencies to it. People don't be getting that. When you write something down, it's a thing, right? It manifests itself into the universe. So there's a very powerful thing about the power of the pen when it comes to writers, when it comes to people that are talking about and commentating on this stuff. And yes, they're fierce about having the ability to say, my opinion matters higher than your opinion matters because of X, Y, and Z in my platform. Let's keep it pushing. Another disrespectful thing Brown media say is we saw this fandom with Manziel and Baker. No, their fans quit on them. We support and sure that Shedeur, NFL or not, he's going to get to his money. Damn, I hope trade costs for Shedeur. I hope, listen, Morning Coffee, I hope that isn't true because I would like to keep Shedeur Sanders in the streets here. I think that he's going to be a pretty good quarterback. I'm not endorsing any trade conversations, but I understand what you're saying, though. Sometimes you feel like that because you feel like some people don't appreciate the fact that you think you got something that could have some potential. But it's different. I tried to warn them. I talked about it before. It's not Manziel or Baker. It's Johnny Manziel and Baker had certain other things. But I think it's crazy to even compare it to Johnny Manziel because Shedeur Sanders ain't out here drinking, doing cocaine, going to rehab. That's wild to me. Shedeur Sanders, Baker went to jail before. He did some silly stuff at Oklahoma State. At Oklahoma and got arrested for it. Shedeur ain't been in no jail. He ain't done nothing. It's not a comparison. So I think sometimes they may be comparison on the thing of, well, he's very popular. But I'm going to just tell you like this. Baker or Manziel didn't have the number one rookie jersey. That didn't happen. It's a little bit different. Lawrence, RBE, G. Bush, I have a solution for those who don't want to talk about 12 or believe he's a fifth-round pick. Don't talk about him and focus on the other players. That's the point. Say it again, Lawrence. I find it ironic that all these people don't want to talk about Shedeur. I'm tired of hearing it. Well, then shut up and don't say nothing. But you know that when you mention his names, what them numbers look like. We're not stupid. If you just wanted things to just go away silently, you would just not talk about them. If I didn't mess with somebody, I got a whole lot of enemies. Actually, I don't have a whole lot of enemies. I try not to. I don't want to live my life that way. But I got people I don't see eye to eye with, but you don't see me just jumping on here talking about them if I really didn't care. If I was tired of talking about it, didn't care, had nothing to do with my life, guess what I would do? Real G's move in silence. Don't say nothing. But we know why you say something, because the clicks look good. Clicks look good. Fans so used to misery, they don't know when they up. Facts. Super facts. We done lost so much for the Cleveland Browns that we live in an alternate universe where good is bad and bad is good. Where we give the benefit of the doubt to people that ain't really good, but we slander people that's going to the Hall of Fame. We draft somebody and then we can't even make a decision based on, how this is going to work with a quarterback competition because it spazzes you out. I can't take it. I don't understand this. This has to be over. The fake outrage be at an all-time high. You outraged about that? Come on, bro. You look around in the world, you outraged. I won't go there. I find it crazy that in the world that we live in, all these moral polices and all this other stuff, but you ever see some of your politicians? Some of the worst human beings in the history of mankind, and yet and still people go to the ballot and still write their names in, but it all stops with the quarterbacks. Moral code is alive and well in the NFL. Shut up. That's the thing people get mad at. We don't, because they're disregarding, you guys are disregarding what they're saying, it's just making them double down more. As you see, as we go along, by the time you get to training camp, they're going to be completely outed. And you're going to start to see the blogs where they're going to be completely openly saying things about a person that is supposed to be competing to start for their team. And the reason that they'll do that is because you are disregarding. When you disregard somebody, act like they ain't there, you take their power away. And so for me, I've never understood why it is that people get mad and upset and do all these other mental gymnastics when you're supposed to be rooting for the best people to play, right? Could have swore that was what it was about. Let's continue on. I'm just saying. Ape Man, old white media, and the same terrible narratives. They'll have one. Listen, there's one every year. I mean, there's one every year. Like, they'll try to act like, you're pulling the race card when you're saying this. I didn't say nothing about no race. All I said is every single year, they find a new person that they got a problem with. Last year, they was going crazy over Deshaun Watson. All right, Deshaun Watson ain't your quarterback. You're still mad. All right. We need linebackers That's what we need to talk about. Oh yeah, 44705. Hey, listen, Schlesinger got to start, cuz he better JOK is up out of here. Schlesinger got to start for me. We appreciate you staying on business, G. Bush, Shedeur, Fire, Mary. I thank you so much. Like I said before, I'm just saying how I feel about the situation. And there's a lot of people that are supportive of Shedeur Sanders, and people are trying to make it like just because you want to see a person get a fair shot that you sort of delusional biased guy. It's crazy to me. Joseph Johnson, G. Bush, I am from NOLA and have become a Browns fan, and you, sir, are on fire. I appreciate your honesty. It's the only way we got to be, man. Because trust me, it's going to get worse before it get better. But like I said before, you shouldn't want it any other way, because I want when you finally get to where you want to get to and you get to the place that you need to be at, I don't want to hear nothing. I want to say I earned it fair and square. Didn't nobody give me nothing, bro, at all. Saeed Abdul Rahman, thank you so much for the super sticker, my brother. Man, you look like you all about business over here. You just, brother, you look like you I stand on business. Man. Fellas, we rock with you. I can't wait to see you on B Watch Show next week. We don't want anything given. We know at number 2, aka number 12, is going to do. Hey, by the way, yeah, definitely. I'm going to be on next week on B Watch Show next week. I think it's on Wednesday. So if you guys are over here Watch me. He's really big with the Colorado Buffaloes. He's over there. We're going to talk a little Shedeur Prime. We're going to talk ball in general. So if you guys are here, make sure you check me out. I'll be over there next week at Wednesday. I believe it's Wednesday at, I want to say Wednesday at 3. Wednesday at 3. Be looking out for that. All right? G. Bush Shedeur being famous is no different if the Browns drafted Arch Manning. His name is famous. But guess what? I guarantee if it was Arch Manning, it'd be a different story. And Arch Manning done played 2 games. Think about that. Who more famous? And who get more cape? Who's actually putting on the cape more? People that want to see Shedeur Sanders get a fair shot at being a quarterback for the Browns sometime this season, or people that are advocating to the Browns lose all of their games just to get a sniff of Arch Manning, who has only played 2 games and has no tape, no film. I think that's kind of wild myself. I think that's wild myself. G. Bush feeding the streets, legendary. Man. Let's see. Let's keep pushing. Let's see what we got in here. Here you go. Bo Bent, hit that like button, sir. Let me see. I see you in here, Daryl. What's up, Daryl? Yes, sir. What's going on? Smash that like button. See, this is one of them. This is only for the streets. This is a barbershop exclusive. You know. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the Facebook group as well. It's on my profile. But I had to come in here and talk to ones that know and the ones that's about that life. Because there was a lot of stuff going around. And I just needed y'all to just be like, listen, stay cool. People will get their opportunity. Don't listen to a lot of the stuff going on, because I fully believe that the Cleveland Browns behind closed doors are doing exactly what they should be doing. And that is this. If you notice in the competition, and they talked about the competition a little bit, right? They talked about the competition a little bit. And Jason Lloyd said that Jason Lloyd referred to it as, we really don't know who's getting the first team reps because we're only allowed to watch certain segments. We're only there to watch a certain amount of 7-on-7 that we can watch. We're not there certain days. And then there are certain days they're not even allowed on the field or being there. So Shedeur Sanders could possibly be getting first team reps in the days that the media doesn't see. As a matter of fact, I kind of would suggest that's a smart thing to do. Think about it. If they put in Shedeur Sanders and they trying to figure out if he got the mental fortitude or the leadership qualities or the energy or the mental makeup to handle adversity, why would you let him be in the first reps when the cameras is there? Why wouldn't you make him ball in silence? Why wouldn't you make him ball behind closed doors to see if he got the same type of attitude that he's going to have when he's on the field, off the field, whatever the case may be? Just because we only saw him take no first team reps in this drill does not mean he was not taking first team reps in practices that the media is not out. So for me, if you look at it, it's a smart way to think about it, because the goal is to put him through as many hoops as possible, so that when you do come out and say Shedeur Sanders is going to be starting this week as the Browns starting quarterback, it'll happen at some point this season. Mark my words, that will happen. But when he says it, he wants the backing of everybody on the field, all of the teammates, the veterans and everything, the coaching staff, everybody who will be seeing it. And so they'll say, well, listen, you guys might not see it, but I saw him working the whole year. You guys may not have been privy to it, but I see him come in early, lift weights, do his thing, get a report together. See what I'm saying? So it all works. It all works as what we're supposed to be moving forward towards too. Because the one thing that you always got to think of it like this: how many people will jump up and down and say, "Oh, they gave him the position if he starts week 1." It's going to be some people that the second he tries to throw an interception, we're going to boo. We're going to have, we're going to put Flacco in. Look, the goal is to have him as ready as possible when he gets his chance. Then you can get a fair shake and understand how things is moving. But look, there's no need to let people gaslight you and have you thinking, well, dang, the practice matter or it don't matter. Those goalposts are going to be moved. But the thing that they can't move is this. When those touchdowns passes are thrown in those inter squad scrimmages with the Panthers and I believe the Eagles, can't hide from that. Press are going to be all there. If he gets his opportunity in the game, I don't care if it's against the fifth string. If he can move the ball up and down the field and score touchdowns, and he gets the celebration off, it's a wrap. There's going to be people all over the place that's going to say, this is what we was expecting. And at that point, the floodgates open. Because you can't hold what is already foretold. That is what it is. Let's get to a couple of more here before we get you out of here. We want this 1,200 people live right here. Listen, we showing them. Barbershop is in the building. We showing them. Yeah, I ain't got to put it all on UCSS. I ain't got to put it on Twitter. We can do numbers right here in the barbershop. Let's see what y'all got going before we get up out of here, man. I appreciate y'all and how y'all been moving. We appreciate every single super chat you sent, and we appreciate you guys holding tight and showing up in this large number on an impromptu video, which I didn't think was going to do nothing. So we appreciate you guys. Let's see. We got one more. Here we go. Here we go. Baker and Shedeur aren't comparable. Baker and Manziel won Heisman's. So I don't know why it's a conspiracy against Shedeur. Reports where his draft process was bad. Why saying Shedeur shouldn't get who's saying Shedeur shouldn't get a fair shot? Here's the thing, Tyrone. No one's gonna come out and I appreciate the super chat, by the way. No one's gonna come out and say, oh, Shedeur Sanders shouldn't get a fair shot. If you've been watching the barbershop, I've given you multiple pieces of information that have talked about how the slanted, biased nature in which they describe this quarterback competition is crazy. We're not saying that Manziel and Baker, they won Heisman trophies. Bro, you acting like what's the name, ain't got no awards. You act like Shedeur ain't got no awards. They won the Heisman. Shedeur was a Heisman finalist. He won the Johnny Unitas award as well. Second of all, when you talking about, I don't know if you've been looking out here, when we talking about what's been going on in the field, the first week, people was saying all kind of stuff. Oh, he didn't look good. He was throwing ducks. And then all of a sudden the footage came out. And people was asking, well, where are these ducks at? The footage of every single time you talk about Shedeur Sanders, people saying, oh, they passed on him 6 times. They passed on him 6 times. It's the devil's in the details. Ain't nobody going to come out and just overtly say, I don't believe you should get a shot at nothing. But the diminishing and the marginalizing of anything that he does is quite obvious if you take a look at it. All of it, and I'm not the only one reporting that. Go look on the internet. Just do a Google search. Reports where his draft process was bad. I've also talked about this. There's all kind of things about reports. Let me ask you a question. See, that's the thing. There's people who believe that was bogus as well. So when you have anonymous people telling you this is what it is, I'm supposed to just take that as for word, gospel, and your name ain't behind it? Don't tell me, listen, the draft process, let me tell you about this, Tyrone. I mean, we did this on the barbershop. People talk about the draft process all the time. These general managers up there asking the most inflammatory questions, and they said, people are asking the sexual orientation of your mother. That's the type of draft process that we got with the NFL. That's been rampant for years. So excuse me for not really believing in the draft process a lot when people have the ability to tank and with a rumor and tank your draft stock. I'm just saying. We're just cooking. But I appreciate the super chat, and I thank you for watching. You ain't got to agree with me all the time. We do this all the time. You ain't got to agree. I give everybody the opportunity in the barbershop to tell me how you feel. you do know it's Shedeur fans versus Browns fans. No, I don't. I think it's people who believe that Shedeur Sanders could be a good quarterback for the Browns and people who don't believe that. The origins of people and how they got to the Browns fandom, that could be true. People do say, hey, listen, I got here through Shedeur. Listen, I'm a Shedeur fan. But if you're a fan of Shedeur, you want the Browns to be good, don't you? Of course you do, because that means Shedeur is doing well. You eventually want Shedeur to play and get an opportunity, right? That's the thing. For me, I'm a person that does both. I've watched every single game Shedeur has been a part of prior to him even being on the Browns' radar. My dad went to HBCUs. He watched all the Jackson State games. My dad watched every single Colorado game. My dad has always been a Browns fan since the 60s, 50s. I've always been a Browns fan. That's the only team I root for. I do media for the Browns, for the Browns radio network. So when you say it's Shedeur versus Browns fans, nah. The reality of the situation is there's a lot of Browns fans that believe Shedeur Sanders could be a great quarterback for the Browns. That's what it is. Are there some people who got here because of Shedeur? Sure. But the goal is to convert them all into everybody moving at one pace and to everybody pulling for the same thing. Larry Fournier. Larry, I'm sorry if I'm killing your name, man. Shedeur needs to simply keep balling, do the necessary work. We all know he'll be the starting quarterback for the Browns in due time. Patience. I think this is a really great tweet. Because I know some people that get, there's a lot of people I read in the comment section, they be hot. Because they be, people be diminishing stuff, and you know how they go. But, the moral of the conversation is this. He'll get an opportunity. And when you get an opportunity, you got to show what he can do. But for me, my goal out of this project is to see if he can get a fair shot to do it. And I don't have the ability to put him in a huddle or take him out of the huddle. But what I do have the ability to do is to point out certain facts and how things moving around the narrative. I can do that. Antoine Sistrunk, what's up, my man? We appreciate you so much for the super chat. Tyrone Jackson, need a nap talking about Baker and Manziel Heisman. Shedeur is still more valuable than both of them today. Facts. Mike got more bag, too. Mike got more bag. With that being said, man, I want to thank everybody for pulling up right now. As always, make sure you tune in back here on Saturday. I got Tyvis Powell, former Cleveland Brown. He's on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, does the radio in Columbus, works for the Browns radio network. He will be on with me. We got a special show for you, 9 a.m. to 11 here, right here in the barbershop. We'll be talking a little Shedeur. We'll be talking about receivers. We'll get into a lot of conversation. We'll be doing some other things here, too. We might even get to some Cavs talk as well. With that being said, you never know when I'm going to show up. Rain, sleet, or snow. Your boy G. Bush is always keeping the Clippers with a fresh fade ready for everybody, and I keep the receipts. You know how I do. If you want the fresh cut, Barbershop is the place to be. With that being said, have a great evening. And as always, wherever you're at, go Browns.
Quality, service, atmosphere. You're next in the chair. Feel at home in the barbershop. G. Bush offers a fresh cut on sports. The barbershop isn't just grooming for guys. It's culture, it's lifestyle, it's sports. And it's now the barbershop is giving the sports scene a sheer shave and shine. Join the makeover now. Follow Garrett Bush at GBush91 on Twitter.